G'day, mate.
How you doing, buddy?
Having a wonderful time. How about you?
Yeah, pretty good, buddy. Pretty good.
That's the shots. Hello, everyone, and happy Monday to you. Is Monday happy? Nah, just shit, isn't it? Back to work, right?
Well,
Let's
yeah,
go back to the weekend, shall we? No, I
yeah.
think it's going to be a good week. I think we're going to have a trading bonanza this week. Why would I say that? Oh, look, just because of the setups I think that we're going to have. It's a reasonably quiet week on the fundamental side of things. We've only got COVID-19, Brexit talks, US election 2 weeks away. Well, our trade wars, nothing really happening at all. So I can't see why the market would be moving. Look, I've got a few ideas for the week actually, as we go into Monday. How about you, Ash?
Yeah, well, I think the fact that we've had a GDP release from China, which is still showing continued growth. I know it was a bit of a miss, but previous at 3.2% and the new one at 4.9%, forecast at 5.5%. But you read into it a little bit more, and everything is positive in China, particularly manufacturing and production. So it does show that there is global growth in many
Isn't it
respects.
interesting how you look at things? If you have a look at the chart of that, it confirms a 10-year downward trend.
The chart of what? Sorry. Oh, of GDP.
Yeah, of growth in China. Yeah.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I suppose maybe we're back on trend. I think that's the
That's
because
true.
we're
That
talking
is true.
we're back on we're talking about kind of relative growth in comparison to the last month, I suppose. So
Mm.
because of that, it is showing that we are growing out of the pandemic. But you're right. I mean, I suppose maybe part of the fact that we are getting close to anyway back to the trend of slower growth in China. There's still a bit of a dip in the data, but slower growth in China. It does suggest that we're still on the trajectory where things are still grinding forward. And yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because if we were in a normal environment, I'm sure if interest rates were higher, people probably wouldn't be touching stocks right now. But where else do you put your money? You just don't get a return anywhere else. So, relatively speaking, stocks seem to be the most attractive place to go.
Well, it's absolutely right, isn't it? And we've been saying that for some time. Where are you going to put it?
Yeah,
You can't put
yeah,
it into housing's a bit of a risk at the moment. Certainly, commercial real estate's very risky. I would have said high on top of the risk circuit.
yeah,
Um, Under the mattress is as good as in the bank, if not better. Um, yeah, I don't know, mate.
yeah, yeah.
That's
And I think you make a fair point because April 2010, when China was at its peak, growing at near 12%
mhm.
GDP. Now we're down to 4.9%. So we are definitely seeing a slowdown in economic activity, in the likes of China. But they
And
were they were
I'd
kind
say
of.
someone would have to say that you'd have to expect that. I mean, that's lofty
Oh yeah,
numbers, isn't it? 12%.
yes, it was. Yeah, it is. It is lofty numbers. I think when things settled down in 2012, we seem to be around about the between 8 and 6 mark. So we are below that. And I don't know whether that's anything to do with the fact that China are becoming less competitive as they grow as a nation. They can't be quite as inexpensive as some of the other regions, or whether it's something a bit more sinister to do with the United States and China. But any country that can grow near 5% GDP is probably fairly enviable. I would suggest. When it comes
Oh
down to the
yeah,
major economies. I don't
there'd be
know
plenty
what.
want to plenty want to swap, wouldn't they?
Oh, I mean, definitely. I mean, the UK would swap in a heartbeat. I can
Mm.
tell you that much, mate. Um, and we are in an incredibly concerning period. So, if you can grow at 5% in a concerning period like this, I'd say you're in pretty good shape.
Okay, further talk on that a little bit later. Let's get into the pound breakout trade. Before we go any further, those will be the numbers for the sell, so they're correct. The numbers for the buy, we might have to wait till that candle closes because we are near the
Oh,
top, but should be 29.51. So 1.2951 will be the buy price. The stop loss on that That is correct now, 1.295. We won't be buying that. We will not be buying, guys, full stop, because we won't be trading straight into the weekly pivot. Will we be trading straight into the daily pivot is the question. So 1.2931 is our nominal take profit one. I think we'll be okay with that. Sorry, 1.2. Yeah, that's right. That can't be right. 1.29 is correct, but it goes the other way. 118, so 9 off that will be 12913. Wow, we're just on it, aren't we? Okay, we'll take the sell, but that should be 13, not 31. And TP2 will be, what's that, 1836 pips below there. So it'll be 14 pips below 29. So it'll be 1.2886. So no long, mate, because of the weekly pivot proximity.
No problem. Okay, I've got that in the market. I've got that in the journal now.
And the sell order is good. So selling at 1.2922. Stop loss 1.2940. TP1 1.2913. And TP2 1.2886. So that is the order.
Okay, fantastic. I've got all that. I have, yeah, fantastic, mate. That's good.
Now, what we should do is if we go through a first level of resistance here, we'll cancel the short as well. Now, what would our TP1 have been? 1.3066. So not there yet. Looks as though it wants to go long there, doesn't it? 18.9 from there. Actually, we would be bang on TP1 now. Okay, so cancel the sell as well, mate.
Cancel the sell. Okay.
We don't want to play today.
Okay, no problem. All right, we should have a FTSE trade. We've got.
Okay.
We got the stock market. Yeah, we definitely want a long on the FTSE today. I'm just looking to see whether it's where the level is. Looks like we could be looking at 59.22, or really, if it comes back to 59.28, then I'm quite happy to initiate the long here with the FTSE. Stops under the pivot there. So let's just let the first 5 minutes pass. We'll get 5 minutes up. See if it comes back in 5 minutes time. And see if we can get a trade on. Now, let me just see what this is here. Just check these levels here. Yeah, it looks strong enough at this stage, and that would be good for the monthly pivot as well. So, looking at 59.29 for the entry. With 59, can we go 09? We can't go 09. We're going to have to go 05, 59.05 for the stop loss. Things look fairly good today. Had a lovely that's S&P trade we took on Thursday worked out really well, mate. It was a decent 3-1 in the end. I think if people stayed in that, then they're probably in pretty good shape for continuation. All right, where are we at? Where is... Oh, there you are.
Sorry, I've been chatting to you muted.
Oh, no problem.
S&P was a buy on Thursday, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. We got it at a really good price. I think it was 34.56 or something.
And they've got their third Monday of the month one today as well, haven't they?
Oh gosh, yeah. So all in with the S&P, yeah. So we want to continue to either hold on to the position or buy back in, or you can just use the FTSE instead. If we can get in. Let's just calibrate my pen here, just so I can write these numbers up for you guys. So this is going to be the buy entry here along here. So 59.28. with a stop loss down at, we'll put it under here, just at 59.05. And then we will use uh, 59.92 looks like a target, but I'll just double check that.
Getting it to come back is going to be the hardest bit, mate, I think, but look at it.
Well, yeah, it's only gone up 20. I mean, it could come back, but you're right. I mean, it's it's come out the traps pretty keenly, isn't it? I'm just looking at the barometers here, and we're seeing the market breadth is 88% of stocks in positive territory, so that leaves only 11 to the downside. And it looks like quite a few of the cyclicals as well are posting some pretty good numbers here. Yeah, I think you know, you could be right, but I don't think we should go in. I don't think we should go in higher than that. I mean, it would be chasing it a little bit now, but you're right. It might be a bit too keen to come back, but we'll see. We will see what happens on that one. But yeah, really nice setup actually on the FTSE. And you know, this is the thing. There are actually, you know what? It might not be until we might not get it till the US session. In actual fact, it depends. It depends. Just looking at this level here, though, it looks like it's going to get to this point without too many problems, and then we'll see if it starts to reverse from there a little bit. But we can always adjust that, mate. But certainly bullish. I mean, that's the first point of call is you know, and I suppose this is the thing. I'm only putting in where I would enter, but you know, everybody's kind of got their own risk parameter and know what they're doing with trading. And I think the main thing to do is just make a decision on what direction you want to trade in first and foremost. And if you've got that down, then it just becomes a lot simpler to kind of then say, okay, you know what, I'm prepared to get in here or here or here. So I think it looks pretty bullish today. And the one other thing with that is that it suggests that we're also looking at Aussie pairs to the upside. You know, we've just been talking about, or we are talking about sentiment. This sentiment looks today like it should be moving to the upside. So the Aussie looks like a pretty good currency as well. So if you think Aussie dollar, looking for longs, look at the Aussie yen as well. The Aussie yen has actually now created on this 4-hour chart the higher low down here.
Mate, that makes two of us out of the whole organisation, I think.
Well, looking for the Aussie long?
Yeah.
Everybody's looking short?
Yeah.
Maybe it's a time thing, mate. I mean, it's certainly when we're looking at the Aussie short today, look at that. Really, really clean break and retest. And I think this is the thing, you know, you got to wait for that retest just like we should do on the FTSE. But look at that beautiful triangle there, mate, that we've broken out of now. That is certainly suggesting that there's a weekly pivot grab on. And you know, trying to get in sort of like between these 2 points. The real entry here would have been, looks like about 4 a.m. my time, maybe 5 a.m. my time. So what would that be seeing for us? About 4 hours back. Yeah, maybe 10 or 11 a.m. this morning. I think there was a decent opportunity on the Aussie to get in long. Really clean. It's got you know, and I think if you're looking to trade in the most simple way, because sometimes people look at what we're doing and probably get just quite confounded about what we've possibly seen that could that could promote some upside. And if you want to kind of trade in a nice simple way, these patterns are great to look for. You got a break of a triangle pattern here, which if you measure the top to the bottom of the triangle pattern, it gives you a measured move. So it gives you an assumed target straight away when you know, if you put it at point of breakout, and that's not that far away from weekly pivot. You know, this might well be just overcooking it a little bit, but it certainly suggests that. Hold on a second, I'll tell you what I need to do. I do forget to do this on occasions. Let me put that down there. Just change my name. There we go. Yeah, if you So we'd assume that it's going to get to somewhere around about that particular point up there, but it might not. It might not quite get there, but you could certainly aim for. I mean, that puts us over the weekly pivot, which suggests that the weekly pivot is the grab. That's the area. But breaking out of a lovely triangle pattern, you know that these things that they're going to go one way or the other. Let it break out, let it come back, let it touch the previous high as well, dictating that you've got a cycle trend to the upside, and you've got a really nice clean chart there. That's really good, isn't it?
Yeah, mate, I'm a fan. I'm really a fan of the Aussie, and I think we've really been given a good price by the way the market reacted to last week's.
Yeah, and look at that level too. I mean, just the wider pattern here does suggest that maybe the monthly pivot could be a potential target for anybody that wants to play it as a swing. There's a channel up there somewhere. Yeah, looks like we're the low end of the channel as well. It's definitely a buy zone, no doubt. I don't think you could have any doubts that we are in a buy zone here. And it looks like an inverted head and shoulders on the weekly as well. It just, things are stacking up quite nicely for the Aussie here. And I suppose there could be another way to play this. That looks like the inverted head and shoulders that we might actually be seeing as well with the Aussie, which means that this could be a pretty wide neckline up there. Yeah, not sure where the neckline and the shoulders actually meet there, but if you wanted to wait for a day, maybe. Yeah, you could wait for a day, and I still think this one might well be attractive. This is the thing. Surely the Aussie is going to react well. I mean, I know China and Australia are falling out a little bit right now, but surely the Aussie is going to react well if there's growth in China, if there's GDP growth in China.
Well, traditionally yes, but as you say, there's a lot going on between that.
Right.
Pair.
Right.
And I'm just not sure how that pans out, frankly. But as I said all along, the issue will always be iron ore and coal.
Yes.
And now they are starting to tinker with coal, apparently, and I still don't know if that's been confirmed. To be absolutely frank, and I haven't followed up on it. I probably should have. So I don't know how serious that is at this very point in time. But if it's not serious, and if my read is right on what Philip Lowe said last week, which we should find out tomorrow, by the way, because we've got the minutes being released of the board meeting. So I would imagine, and I really want to be in the Aussie before that is released, because I think that's going to show what I suspect to be a market overreaction to that statement of Philip Lowe's last week. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but that's kind of where I'm at. I would like to get into the Aussie before that announcement tomorrow.
Yeah, well, it's looking good, mate. It is looking good. And maybe that's the key. Maybe we are waiting for just one more day with this one, just to kind of allow it to shape up, and then see what happens with Philip Lowe. There is also a hint from Nancy Pelosi and Donald Trump that they could be meeting tomorrow. I think that's right. They're going to be meet tomorrow and discuss the stimulus package over in America. We obviously have Jerome Powell out later on as well. So there's quite a lot, and there's Governor Bailey as well from the UK suggesting that the UK is likely to need more stimulus. So there's a lot suggesting that that we should be quite bullish on the market right now. And just trying to get in is the key. You might well be right on the FTSE. It looks like it's going to struggle to come back at this stage, up around about 0.5% from entry. But so be it, mate. That's the way it crumbles sometimes. But we'll see. We'll see. It might just have one more dip to the downside before we need to get too concerned. It does look like it's just hit a close enough to a resistance point there. Just there on the hourly, so it's reacting to this resistance point. So we might well get a little bit of downward movement here to get in.
Cool. G'day, Sino. Before I go any further, I took on board what you were talking about with oil last night in the preview show, and I agree with you 100%. Canadian dollar is going to be very much affected by what happens with oil, not only this week but always. So yeah, I get that. That's what is probably and most likely holding the CAD back at the moment, if that's the way we perceive it, and I perceive it to be that way as well.
Yeah, pretty good sounds though, isn't it? Pretty good noises from Putin and is it I don't want to get his name wrong. The Saudi Arabians. Pretty good music from those guys, suggesting that that the oil should get some kind of boost.
Oh, okay, I didn't hear that.
Yeah, they were talking about committing to making sure that the price the price is stable, that there will be price stability, and they've got OPEC meetings coming up, and obviously with the two big players kind of they're on the same page, it seems. They do seem to be buddying up right now, so you'd think that would positively affect moves in oil potentially.
We have got OPEC meetings, have we not? Is that today or this week or something?
Yes, we do. Yeah, we do.
Today.
Is it today? I'm not sure, but it is. Yeah, yes, we do. Yeah, so they're starting today. But I think the fact that Russia and Saudi Arabia are on the same page, they seem to be on the same page anyway, should give a fairly positive outcome for oil. And I don't see. It's a bit like Brexit, isn't it? How can they not? How can they not kind of get around the table and agree to do the right thing?
Well, they were flexing their muscle, weren't they, earlier? It was kind of a little bit of an arm wrestle, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, probably, mate. I mean,
maybe they've just woken up. I don't know.
It looks good on the daily. We haven't got a really clean bar here because it hasn't really kind of gone down and tested a low. That's anything with any kind of significance with this bar, and certainly not that bar. But it's at the top end of this range now, which means that you wouldn't want to trade it here. It's in a sell zone right now. But if it popped up, you might have just a little bit of room if you're trading on short-term timeframes to see if it can at least get back to the highs. But it would have to be on short-term timeframes, and it would have to come back before it got to that upper line. I think if you were going to safely trade it. But it looks pretty good, mate. I think.
Yeah, I like it. It's in a good place to look for a trade, long or short. So I'm not sure which at the moment, but if it breaks out and comes back, as you say, and tests without coming back into that range, then yes, I think there's a buy on. But if it comes back into the range, then I think the reverse.
Yeah, and I suppose if we stick with global sentiment right now, what we've just seen out of China, it would suggest that we've probably got a risk on session. So I suppose with oil, if it created a buy signal, the buy signal would probably be better than the sell signal. I think the weekly pivot would still look like a decent place, and in actual fact, the weekly pivot looks like the best place to try and take this trade. If it gave a signal round here, because that would coincide quite nicely with the trend line. So popping back down again into here. If it created some sort of signal here, I think that would look pretty good. Whatever that signal is, whether it's a hammer or some sort of other bar, I think that would look pretty good for upside with oil. But as I say, we'll wait and see. But from what I gather, we got risk on attitude in the global markets. We've got OPEC meetings which are starting today, which could put this on a little bit of freeze. But certainly Russia and Saudi Arabia both making the same. They appear to be singing from the same hymn sheet. So I would have thought we should be looking for upside in oil.
Happy days. Also news over the weekend, of course, we had the New Zealand elections. And
yes.
Interesting chat last night with both Julian and Paul B, of course, being Kiwi people. Both hinting, well, not hinting, they were very, very confident that the Kiwi would rally on the back of the landslide election win, not so much because of the win itself, but because they felt it pointed towards certainty, because there had been a landslide result rather than like everywhere else in the world currently. We've had hung parliaments and all the rest of it, very, very close votes. And not really strong mandates for governments, but this appears to be a strong mandate for the Kiwi government. and therefore their economic or fiscal policies coming out of COVID, I suppose. And they felt that that was very, very strong indicator that we would see a strong Kiwi over the medium to long term. Interesting.
Yeah, which I could see that as well. Looking at the Kiwi versus the CAD, I suppose you could say if we're looking at longer term, if a longer term opportunity here, looks like an inverted head and shoulders coming in on this one as well. And if I'm not sure you'd want to play it against the CAD right now with the OPEC stuff going on, but
well, I'm already short Kiwi CAD. And I like the head and shoulders and the break and retest of the neckline, frankly.
Yeah, I see that as well, mate. Yeah, there's a kind of situation where there's patterns on patterns here, isn't there? I see that this is the one you're talking about, isn't it?
Yep.
Head and shoulders pattern there, and the retest and a possible breakdown, maybe back to these lows as well. So yeah, I see what you're talking about.
But with your chart, I agree. If it gets above that trend line, then we've probably got an issue.
Yeah, that's the breakout level, isn't it? That's if it, as you say, gets above there, then the Kiwi should at least run up to the monthly pivot. I would have thought.
Interesting part that it hasn't taken off this morning, and you would have thought if it was going to take off, there would be a market reaction, from the get-go, and I haven't really seen that.
Yeah, very quiet actually today. I think on the whole, well, not quiet, just a little bit muted. I think on the whole, I think there's still maybe people are waiting for Jerome Powell later on before they make any longer term decisions. But yeah, there's a tiny bit of buying going on, or a tiny bit of activity, I should say, going on, but not as much as I thought there would be. On Friday, I was giving a session for the Master Trader, and somebody reported that the pound had said that they were going to. Sorry, the UK government said that the trade deal was off with the EU. They were asking me about, will that weaken the pound? And I was like, well, yeah, absolutely, it will if that is the case. But yet again, it was just another bit of flexing from the Boris Johnson team. They've kind of said that they won't be negotiating now with the EU. There's no trade deal, but they just just really trying to play as hard as they possibly can. And it looks more and more likely that there will be a deal, and because of that, we are seeing weakness in the euro against the pound. There was another selling opportunity actually. Off the back of the announcement last week, as the euro rallied right back up to its upper trend line, and another selling opportunity, and we are seeing the euro weaken. So I would suggest now that is pretty much in the back. I don't know if you've managed to stay in this the trade that you were in, mate.
Yep.
That's really good. I think this level down here becomes all the more likely. Just from the rhetoric that comes off, it just comes away from the UK. It looks to me like there will be some concessions on either side to try and get this deal done.
We'll get two red bars in a row? I mean, I know Fridays was pretty much doji like, but it is red. Is it possible that we get two in a row?
Finally, yeah. I think we do. Yeah, I think we do, mate. I think the statement on Friday, when I looked into it a little bit further, it did suggest that that Boris Johnson was just saying, look, what you've got so far is an absolute no, but just come back. But he didn't say it that way, obviously. It was basically you had to interpret him saying, that's it, no deal, we're going to walk away. Of course, if there are fundamental changes, then we'll listen, but ultimately that we think we need to wash our hands with this. And the interpretation is, look, that's too far. That's too far. You're pushing too hard. Just come back to the negotiating table one more time, and let's see if we can sort something out. And I will concede on some stuff as well. And that's what the reports this morning are. Is that he's likely to concede on some bits and pieces as well. So I think the euro does weaken from here against the pound. Pound probably does strengthen against the dollar, but there are certain currencies I wouldn't touch it against. And that would probably maybe the Kiwi would fall under that category. I think there's certain pairs that you don't play with right now. So if you're looking for a Kiwi long, I wouldn't play it against the pound, because I think the pound is probably more likely to strengthen. I think somebody mentioned euro.
I hope you're right.
What's that with a euro with a pound Kiwi?
Where massive bulls pound Kiwi, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be okay. I wouldn't be playing the I wouldn't be playing. Sorry, I think the euro is probably a better option. I think euro. Somebody mentioned Alan saying about shorting the euro Aussie. That's a question for you actually, and not without looking at the chart. I would have thought that would be quite a good play.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. It's just coming off the top of the range now, and agree 100%. And that was,
Yeah,
top of my list yesterday. No, it wasn't. It was second on my list overnight with my
yeah.
analysis. CAD Swiss buy is still the one, but Euro Aussie 100% on board with you, Alan. And what am I looking for? Just a nice little daily pivot test right now, and a lower high would be perfect. So I'll be looking for that definitely. The other one, Aussie Swissy, was the question from Sino as well. And again, I'm on board with that. Do you want me to share my charts, mate?
Yeah, sure, mate. Yeah, yeah. Why not? Why not?
All right, I'll show you why I'm on board with both those. Firstly, Aussie Swissy. Now, Aussie Swissy on the daily chart, as you can clearly see, has been in a range forever. Well, not so much a clear range because we've got a few different levels up here, but most certainly the underline here, which is 64.97, as I've got it, let's call it 65 cents. Unbelievably strong as support. And every single time we get below it, we smash back above it very, very quickly. That may well be the case here as well. And was it you saying, Alan or Sino? I can't remember who was on Aussie Swissy. Sino. Yeah, I agree. If we get above the weekly pivot here today and retest it, absolutely. In particular, if it closes above this line here, which is on the daily chart, a support trade line, and then come back, yeah, definitely. I'm a big fan. Almost there now as a false break of that 65 level, but the weekly pivot, the reason that we stayed at £1 US dollar, which was probably a bad thing by the look of it, exactly that reason is why it's too tough to trade that one. But sometimes it just doesn't matter. They just smash straight through it. But I agree, if they do and come back, I think that's the right trade and the right opportunity for us to trade Aussie Swissy. Euro Aussie, on the other hand, coming back the other way naturally. Big double top sitting there on a 4-hour chart. The daily won't be any different. Pardon me. And you can see that massive range that we've been in since June continues to be faithful, or price continues to be faithful to the top and bottom of that range. And we have, of course, bounced off it again. We've got below the daily pivot, which is cool. And what we need to do is have another test, or a test really, of the daily pivot, put us in a lower high situation here and look to trade it short. That could come on any time frame, of course. And at the moment, the hourly is a potential. You could even say that we've already had a lower high on the hourly after this, well, double top there. It's kind of like a head and shoulders. I wouldn't go that far, but that's a nice bar. If we were to see that over here, then I'd get a little bit interested. In fact, I'd get a lot interested at that confluence area. That would be cool. And then the best case scenario, as always, is if we break out here, break above the confluence area, a little bit of consolidation, give us the lower high that we seek, then back underneath here and retest the confluence area. That's the time you want to trade there. That would be the mayor's office, as we say in golfing terms. Hang on 2 secs, guys. I've got a cough. I'll see if I can get this microphone closed. That's better. So yeah, I agree with both of those guys, Euro Aussie and Aussie Swissy. Risk on day certainly looks that way, Alan. And as Ash said before, that should help the Aussie out. And all good. Shukri, g'day to you. Money printer go brrr. Bitcoins go up. The awesome UK cryptos go to the moon. Sounds like you've had a good weekend, buddy boy. Am I still in Kiwi CAD from Sanjay? Yes, I am. That was around about entry last time I had a look. Pardon me. No problem staying out of the pound US dollar. I'm monitoring it. Just think, okay. Cheers, Shukri. Shukri's had a little bit of a fiddle with this slingshot, which is fantastic. I love to see that. We're going to have a talk about that tomorrow in his session. Your fork. Okay, cool. We'll have to come up with a new word for it. Righto, I think I'm up to date. Very, very good. Now, staying out of the pound. Yeah, look, no apologies for that. That's just the way she rocks, guys. I'm not trading straight into a pivot like that. No way. It's not going to happen. In particular, well, if it's untested, if it's been broken and retested, different story, but that wasn't the case. And how were we to know that the pound was going to take off like that? I would still be on the bull side, I've got to say, if I'm a pound trader today, but not 100% there, because we do have that break below the monthly pivot, and maybe a retest of the monthly pivot sends this back in the opposite direction. We didn't get a test of this trend line after all, but we are also coming off the top of a range. So I don't think there's anything that's crystal clear on the pound, and I think that's a tough one to be absolutely confident of. So let's have a look at my little watch list for the week. And CAD Swiss is on top of that, as I said before. Now, I've been trying to get a decent trade away on this for the longest time, and as yet haven't found a way. But it does continue to stay within this little range here. We poke out of it, and then we hit it, then we hit it, then we fail to hit it. Here, it's just tightening up, isn't it? It's like a big spring coiling, and that's okay. Pardon me, I've got a cough again. Must be Monday-itis. There's a couple of things here that are worthy of note, and I'm inclined to think that this is probably going to test the bottom of this range again. I'm hoping that's not the case. Well, if it is the case, I'm hoping to be able to take advantage of that in two ways. Maybe we could actually trade that. We could actually trade that bar if we so thought. And we could also wait till we did get down here and then look for that buy price. And the reason I'm so keen on this is nothing's really changed since we saw this big tweezer bottom sitting here. This big rush to the high side, which retested this breakout area of the support of the bottom of the previous range. And then we put in a higher low. What we haven't done since is take out this range here and give us another higher high. We've just gone into a shell here. And I think, as you suggested, Sino, it may well have to do with oil prices. The fact that the CAD just can't rally. I don't know that it's doing too good against anything else either. It's just kind of going sideways against the yen there, against the pound. The pound's just taken off against it, as you can see. Against the dollar, pretty much 6 of one, half a dozen the other here as well. I don't really see any strong movement in the CAD yet. I'm a CAD fan. I see no reason to be bearish the CAD. The Aussies failed against everything, as we know, so it's really not a good comparison. Yeah, I'm still a fan of CAD Swiss. I'm not sure what I need to see to get long, to be honest. But I'll take it this way. I'll take it as a false break of support. Now, that kind of leads me to, okay, why don't we trade this bar here from Friday? And I'm almost convinced that I need to do that. One thing that doesn't agree with that analysis is this trend line here, which suggests break, retest, long. The other way to look at it is if we go to a smaller time frame, can I actually pick that as a false break? Not from that, no. Yeah, it's a bit tough. I can make a case for either direction at the moment. Longer the stronger, guys. What do you think? Break, retest, double cross. monthly pivot, weekly pivot, daily pivot. They're all there. Let me clean this up a bit.
You need a bit of time, mate, or do you mean?
No, I'm just cogitating, mate.
Okay.
I think we're going to play a short here on the daily chart. This may not trigger until Wednesday or something, but I'm going against my bias, and I'm going to trade this bar short. Now we're going to have to be a little bit sneaky and put our stop loss. Hang on, I'll just see if it's worth it from a risk to reward point of view. So we're going to have to put our stops probably here, 50 pips. And there's our first take profit, 14-ish. Not great, is it? And the target was here. It's only 1-to-1. Or was that? No, that was the target, wasn't it? So target 50 pips from here, wasn't it? Roughly. No, it's not worth it, guys. No, cancel that. I don't mind it, though, from maybe a 30-minute potential. If we can find a 30-minute trade down to that area, I think it probably will be worth it. But we need to see a few things that we haven't got right now, not least of which would be a break of something, a false break of something. Maybe that line there. Let's have a look at that. That would kind of work if we got underneath here, took out this low. Low was not the low of the day, but if we took out that low and then came back and retested here, I think an entry short, take profit here, and then look for a target where I said before, down around, what is that level? That level is around about there somewhere, 68.60. So if we found an entry up here-ish, we've got about 70 or 80 pips to play with, off maybe let's say we've got even a 15 pip risk. That'd be worth it, right? So there's a 5-to-1 trade available there. You won't get that because you're taking profit, but you might get 2, 3-to-1 if you play your cards right. So, yeah, let's have a look at that on the smaller time frames. Hopefully that'll set up around about UK Open time, and we can look to trade that short. Not for a long term. We're looking for a longer term long, okay? Euro Aussie was the other one. That was the number 2. We've spoken about that. Euro Kiwi was my third on the watch list today. Now, talking about mixed signals, I can definitely make a case either way for this one. If you have a look at the daily chart, we've got an ascending channel going up here. We've come off the bottom of it, above the weekly pivot, and now we're retesting it. That's suggesting that there may well be an opportunity to trade this back to the top of the range, or at least to that trend line. The other way to look at that is we've also got a little, well, you can call it an inverted head and shoulders if you want, but it's certainly a descending channel with a false break above that channel line. And we've come off the top of that, and we're now held up at the monthly pivot. So this area is crucial, and I'll be watching very, very closely what happens here. Should we break below the monthly pivot and then come back and retest the confluence area? I think there's a short on. But again, it's got to be on smaller time frames because you're not going to get any reward to risk out of this one either. But watch that closely. The other way, of course, is on the daily chart, where we have had a break back above the monthly pivot. I'll go a bit tighter on that. Back above the monthly pivot, and we're now retesting that area. So all the pivots very, very close together here. And on the smaller time frames, if you're looking for a long, you're probably looking for a false break of a trend line that's in here and the monthly pivot. So get under here, consolidate back above, retest, and then go. that's kind of what I'm seeing on Euro Kiwi. The fourth on my watch list is the almighty Euro dollar. And this hasn't been on my watch list for the longest time, but it is right now. Had a break of the daily pivot already, and a retest of the daily pivot already, and a pullback off this resistance trade line. I'm a bear, right? So I'm looking for a short. Dare I short here? It is a new low based on yesterday's lows, not the low of yesterday, but the later in the day lows. So we have got a new low. So we've got lower low, lower high, lower low. It's happened very quickly, and we've had a pullback off the trade line. Ooh, don't know if that's what I wanted to see. So if we were trading here, we've probably got to put our entry below there. We've got to put our stop loss here. So 15 pips into maybe 8, 9. That's not so bad. We could do that. We could definitely do that. I think we might have a crack at that, actually. What are you telling me, guys? Weekly chart, we've got a double cross. Yes, we do. Well, kinda. The changeover bar, right, which is actually not this month's monthly pivot. It's actually what's in between, isn't it? It's last month. That's the weekly chart. We're in we're in week 3, aren't we? Okay, it is. Yeah, fair enough. I see that. But do you also see what we've got? We've got a clear false break signal on the bigger time frame as well. So if you go to, actually, I'll just go a little bit wider on the weekly. It's clearer on that one. A little bit wider, I said, didn't I? A lot wider. I'll get there eventually. Okay. No, it is the monthly chart. Righto. This big monthly trend line, right, which is the primary trend at the moment. Well, I'd call it the primary trend on Euro US dollar. And we looked at that for the longest time as well. But you can see it has been broken and not only retested, but we've come back underneath it. Now on the monthly chart, we are looking for probably a retest or a continuation of the bearish momentum. But we got it on the weekly chart, right? We got the retest on the weekly chart. Now that didn't result in a trade, or didn't result in a trade. No, it's a trade setup, but there's no trigger. So is that still existing? Well, it kind of catches your eye, doesn't it? It certainly catches my eye. Do I want to then go and trade the double cross long? No, I don't. But if you chose to do that, then by all means go ahead. I don't think you'd be in any discomfort at any stage, because if the downward momentum continues, then it'll do exactly that. So it's an insurance bar in many ways, which of course is what the double cross is all about. I actually don't see it that way because I'm so, I guess, bearish, and I know I shouldn't be in that frame of mind. If the setup's there, the setup's there. But I'd like to see it also on a smaller time frame, and I don't. Everything I see is telling me this is going short. So, and the main thing is, of course, if you have a look at, hang on, I'll use my pen. Right there. The main thing is this one, and this one, which I call my 3 little Indians, right? So it's a false break to the high side, followed by a higher level false break, followed by a higher level false break. Once I see that 3 times in a row, I immediately, no, I was about to say no. I immediately believe that the breakout of the range that we're in will be to the downside. That's just a given for me because I've seen it happen so many times. The other thing to look at here is a left shoulder, a head, a right shoulder, a neckline that goes through here, and has been retested. This is what we pointed out last week. And that is a very, very, very strong bearish signal to me. This pop out here was interesting, and I've got no idea why that was produced, but it was probably a speech or something, a tweet, or God knows what. I can't remember what it was. But it was a little bit of an anomaly, in my humble opinion, that we had such a strong candle break to the high side there. Okay, it did have precedent here, and the third one. But that's interesting, because they're interrupted by little consolidation periods. Yeah, I can see why. I can see why you would have a bullish outlook at that point. But to my mind, that is still a clear break and retest of a neckline at a beautiful spot. I think it's a really, really nice area. Around about 119, we're coming off 119. We've retested 118, and I really think this is on its way short. And if symmetry's got anything to do with it, pardon me, we could find ourselves, again, if we have a look at a bigger picture, we could find ourselves down here eventually, but certainly in the first instance, I'd be looking for a retest of this level, then a retest of the trend line, then a fall back to the top of this breakout area, then another pullback, and maybe even back down to this area here at some stage. The problem with that is I haven't got the belief in the US dollar that will make that happen. It has to be a disbelief in the euro from my point of view to make that happen, because I can't see the dollar rallying that far. There are people in our organization who are massive dollar bulls at the moment, and I absolutely respect their decision and their outlook and their analysis. But I can't see it going long term. Okay, short term, as I keep saying, I can see a dollar rally just because, but I can't see the US dollar sustaining a massive rally for a long time. So that's my position. Euro dollar is a short, and I want to trade that for as long as I possibly can. Certainly doesn't look like it at the moment, does it? But that's fine. What that presents to us is potentially a better price, or we'll just stay out for the day if it continues to go long. Certainly we're seeing, as we said before, a little bit of movement against the dollar. Certainly the pound's doing it. Euro's doing it. Aussie not so much. Kiwi not so much. They tend to be a little bit on the interesting side. And dolly yen, let's forget about dolly yen. Mate, it seems to be a euro pound story. Wonder why? What's going on there?
With Brexit, you mean?
No, well, they're both rallying against the dollar. Yet I don't see everything rallying against the dollar.
Well, the euro and the pound probably would rally, I suppose, because of a deal. Because there is a deal in the offing. So, or it sounds like there's a deal in the offing. So, because of that, it would suggest that those two probably would maybe outperform the rest of the market. That's possible. That is possible. I don't know. I don't think the pound will rally for very long, mate. I have to say. I think when the deal is done and we get back to genuine issues that are affecting the UK economy, and Bailey has to add more stimulus, or there is more stimulus somewhere along the line, I think the pound will probably weaken in the long term. So really with the pound, I think this actually becomes a selling opportunity while we got this Brexit negotiation potentially being done and dusted. Now that could take a while. I'm certainly not suggesting that we should go short in the next week or so, but maybe next year. That the pound actually could be one of the currencies that doesn't do too well out of things, depending on what happens. Just because I don't see how the UK is going to grow at this stage, and certainly that deal with the EU is paramount. When you look at what makes up the UK GDP, it's services, and when you look at the country or the region that they do most of their business with, over 45% of the business that is done in the UK is done with the EU. So there's no way they can replace that. So the deal. at some point, and we haven't had it yet, but at some point you would think that some kind of logic would prevail and we would have, I don't know what, a deal done, maybe somewhere along the line.
Okay.
But
That
after
kind of
that,
makes
as I
sense.
say, I wonder whether the pound does weaken after that.
I don't know, mate. I truly don't know. A lot of good judges will tell you it's way undervalued. So I'm kind of listening to them at the moment. And certainly I'm seeing opportunities on things like pound Kiwi, which are technically, exactly where we need them to be to trade them, frankly. From Sino, Jeff, is your CAD Swiss M30 short entry at the B candle? CAD Swiss short entry at the B candle. 30-minute chart, wasn't it? Come on. That is a 30-minute chart. Right. So what we're looking for, we're not looking for that. That's not what we're looking for. What we're looking for is the consolidation, then back underneath. So where this one breaks, that's the A point, right? The B point is the retest. So the answer is yes, that's exactly what I'm looking for. A, B, C. Always the same for me. So you've got an A here. Every break of a trade line, or a trend line, if you like, gives me an A point. Every single break of a level of any kind gives me an A point. The B point is the retest point. So the bottom of the candle that comes back. So here you've got A, B, and you're looking for C at a resistance level, right? So 1, 2, 3, just like that. Coming back the other way, it's exactly the same thing reversed. So we get a re-break. This is the re-break bar, gives us an A point. The retest bar, if it comes, gives us a B point. And a support level, that's going to be your issue here, right? Where's your C? There, or there. Not much reward available on that one, I'd have to say. That's going to be the problem. So it's kind of a stay out. This candle hasn't closed, of course, got 8 minutes to go, but it certainly looks like this does want to go short, as we thought it might. Because we can't find a way in, it's not our fault, right? It's just the market. The market does what the market does, and unfortunately, it generally says, I'm going now, not when you want me to, or I'm not going now when you do want me to. Either way, there's always that little bit of imperfection that you have to deal with. Euro dollar weekly, we've got a double cross. Yes, we've covered that one. CAD is also tied to oil, and oil is so sensitive to use. Yes, absolutely right. So I know I'm on board with you there. For Euro dollar H4, there's a potential slingshot short on the current buyer bar. I had a look at that, and you're not far off the mark. And it is a double cross of the daily pivot as well. And when the 4-hour candles close now, we've changed over to, is this the last 5 minutes? Or we've got another hour to wait? I can't remember now. Let me see. If somebody wants to answer that, happy days. If not, I'll look it up. Is this the last 7 minutes of the 4-hour bars?
Which what are we looking at, maybe, because they all shut at slightly different times. Currencies?
Currencies on fusion markets, yes.
The 4-hour.
I can't remember whether I'm in Australia, so it was, I think, 2 weeks ago, 7-11.
No, I think it's another hour.
No, so it's
another hour on the currencies.
8-12-4, 8-12-4. Yeah, got it. Right. Yeah, don't disagree with that one. I'd be keeping my eye on that. The issue, of course, you're going to have is where is it safe, and your take profit level. Do you trust this level here? where you've only got, what, 9 or 10 pips of profit, your risk could be about 25. If you want to get it a little bit more conservative, there's your risk there, about 45 pips. And so entry there, say 45 pips, pardon me. DS1 coincides with 13. You might stretch it out to 15, which is okay in my book. And if you get through that level, happy days. So I don't think that's the worst. You might find a better entry, though, on a smaller time frame. As a false break, it'll probably be the same level you get in at, but your risk might not be as great. Keep your eye on it. I don't think it's the worst by any stretch. Definitely. How to go. Thank you, guys. It's much appreciated. And you're 100% spot on. So, mate, that's pretty much me. I think there's a massive opportunities this week. Frankly, do. The market just has to play ball with us. Haven't really been through the Aussie pairs in full, but I think you guys are pretty much on the money with Aussie Swissy and Euro Aussie. I think Euro Aussie in particular is the one I'll be looking to trade because of the structure more than anything else. But if you've got any inkling that that Philip Lowe statement last week is not necessarily a misread by the market, but an overreaction to the statement by Philip Lowe last week, as I do, and I'm pretty staunch on it, I've got to say. I had a little bit of a conversation with Paul B about it on the show last night, if you weren't in there, and with you as well, Ash. You were trying to convince me last week that it was a serious thing, as was Paul B last night. I'm not there.
What's the serious thing? Sorry, mate.
The markets read it as a statement of we are going to reduce interest rates by Philip Lowe last week.
Oh yeah.
And I don't see that. I still don't see that he said that. And for that reason, I think we've had a market overreaction. And we've had a market overreaction. The market always knows what it's doing, as you know. It's always supposed to be in equilibrium. Then it should mean an Aussie rally. For me, that means an Aussie rally this week as the market wakes up to itself.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's certainly possible that because it was quite a I think it was a little bit hidden what was said there. So yeah, I could certainly see why you would be on the other side of that particular opinion.
The thing with it, Australian, you see, apparently.
Well, do you know? I mean, I think that certainly today and it changes from day to day, doesn't it? But right now, we just at this particular point, I don't see why we'd be in risk off.
Yeah, it's Miyagi-san, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it might not be that that we have enough to say we should be, risk on going into the US election, and that is the big elephant in the room. When US election is done, then I suppose we can then move on to the next thing. And it might be that things just don't break out. We might be caught in a bit of a range for a little while, but the data just doesn't seem too bad right now. So if data starts to look pretty bad, and I think that the lack of stimulus comes from the US government, then I think we could see a pretty swift negative move in many assets. But just where we are right now, I think things look okay in the market.
No, I haven't traded the daily bar. No. Sanjay, no. Euro Aussie, no. No, I haven't, mate. Yes, look, I think so, Alan. I want, as always, Monday to settle down a bit, because Monday is a weird day for me. I'm never in the zone. I'm never ready to trade, but I'm certainly never ready to trade in UK session. I want to have a look at what the market and how it opens and what the traders actually think as a result of whatever's happened over the weekend or even Friday, because I don't see the markets from Thursday till pretty much now. So, yeah, I'm not a massive Monday trader, but certainly US session, I think we've been in a few trades in the US session, but yeah, very rarely on a Monday morning UK time. So I'm more than prepared to wait. And Euro Aussie has still got to give me what I'm looking for, I don't like that, okay, let's just jump in scenario. I see the candle, but always looking for a decent pullback. And the daily pivot's a perfect example today of where I want that pullback to be, at the confluence of trend line and daily pivot. So it's there that I'll be looking for the trade. If that happens today on an hourly, 4 hourly, absolutely, I'll be looking to trade it short. And I really do want to get into the Aussie in a bull fashion before that statement is read tomorrow, because as soon as that happens, it is my belief that what I've been saying will be vindicated. And that is that he didn't say at any stage that we were going to cut interest rates. And for that reason, I'm expecting the market to go, oh, sorry, let's buy Aussies. There you go.
Yeah. You got to have an opinion,
that's me, mate, for now. How about you?
Yeah, me too. I think you make a fair point on the on this particular session on the Monday morning session, because really, unless you're really in front of the market on Sunday, it would be Sunday evening for me, when the market opens up and you can kind of like get yourself properly prepared for the UK Monday session. Then you kind of want to spend Monday just getting yourself ready for the week. I'm going to do some work for the next few hours just to kind of make sure all the data's up to date. But I don't think you can sweat too much, to make sure that every single the start of the UK session at every single week that you've done everything that you need to do just to get ready to trade on the Monday. I think it's a kind of it's a bit of a process, isn't it?
Yeah, look, it does happen, and it did happen, I think, 2 or 3 weeks ago, where they just got out of the blocks and there was no way in for the whole week. Yeah, because they'd made a statement very early, and that didn't retrace. It was just full on, okay, buying or selling whatever they were buying or selling. So it does happen that Monday is a structural change or a fundamental change in the market, but it's not often. It really isn't often.
Absolutely, mate. Well, there's a few ideas that I've got for later on. We will discuss in the US show, and I will, as I say, get prepared for the rest of the week as I go. I've got a few bits and pieces of data just to update to make sure that I'm on top of things here.
All right, mate. Happy days. And I'm making music in the 90s this week, am I not?
You are that. Yes. Looking forward to your choices.
Yeehaw. All right, guys. There's plenty happening this week, as always, and it kicks off after us, of course, with Shukri in about 3 hours, I think it is, from now, at 7 p.m. Singapore time. Enjoy that and get ready to take off to the moon with him. And we'll be back at 8:30. Is that right? 8:30? Yes, 8:30 Singapore time, with a preview of the US session, and we'll have a little bit of a review of what's happened. And if the Euro Aussie has gone to the downside and I've missed it, then I'll be cranky. But if not, no, I won't. I promise I won't. We'll see you then, guys. We'll see you then, guys. Have a great rest of the evening if you won't be with us, and we'll catch up with you tomorrow at the same bat time, same bat channel. See you later, mate.
See you later in a bit, buddy. See you later, guys.